Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark, and this is Spiguyver Backpacking. And today we're doing something we haven't done for a while, and it's kind of tagging on to the trip planning videos that we've done. So we've gone through planning out a trip, how to actually plan a trip, but now we're going to take this to really the next step. After you've planned a trip and you're actually going to be heading out, what do you take with you? How do you pack? What do you bring? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is I've got a 5-day, maybe a 6-day, 5 to 6. I've got 6 days available. The trail, I'm expecting the plan right now is 5 days to do the trail, but it could take 6. Got 6 available. No big deal if it takes 6. I want to make sure that I'm carrying enough to be okay for 6. But today what we're going to do is actually look at, because of where we're going and what the terrain and the just everything, the climate, the environment, everything there, what the weather actually looks like for this period. So it's less than a week away, and I'll be getting in the car, driving only a little over an hour, I think, to the start of a trail. And then I've actually planned out a couple of different options looking at for a shuttle. And so this is an end-to-end. It's not going to be a loop, and so it's setting it up so that I've got a ride back to my car at the end of the trip. And so that had to go into my planning. But that's not really what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about the gear that I'll be taking. So let's take a look at what I'm actually going to be bringing on this trip. We'll take a look at the actual gear that I'm bringing, the clothes that I will be bringing other than the stuff that I will normally be wearing, and let's take a look at the food that I'll be bringing. So let's go. Okay, so let's take a look first at my shelter, sleep system, and the pack that I'll be using. So the pack is the Waymark Ember 60 liter. You guys have seen me pretty much all winter. This is what I've been using. For sleep system, it will be my Hammock Gear 0 degree quilt. This is a long quilt, so it comes up nice and high on me. My Xped Down Mat Winter UL, and that's the long wide version. I have the pump sack that goes with that to air it up. I also have a little mini pump, electric pump, rechargeable, that airs it up extremely quickly. Prefer to use that method, but in case that dies or something happens, I do have the pump sack as a backup. In order to make sure that no drafts get in, and really to kick up my system just a little bit higher, I have the Sea to Summit reactor, and this is just a bag liner, and it kicks it up about 14 degrees. The pillow, when I'm laying on the mat, on the pad, I really like to use the Thermarest pillow. It's a little bit bigger, and it just feels more like my home pillow, and so I sleep better using it. And the tent that I'll be using is the Tarp Tent Rainbow. Like this tent, it's a one-person tent, but it's got enough room for all my gear in there, and it's nice during winter not to have a huge tent. So this is kind of my big 3 and what I'll be carrying. Let's take a look at some of the small items that go in my pack as well. Okay, so for the smaller things that go in my pack or get carried on the outside, or that I'm carrying my hands, I've got my Gossamer Gear poles, super lightweight, really love these. I've got just a cut down sleeping pad that I use as a sit pad. It's got the reflective on one side, orange on the other. I like this a lot. Really comes in handy anytime you're stopping. This is kind of the junk drawer of my pack. This kind of has just about all kinds of stuff in it. It's got my trowel, it's got my fix-it kit, it's got my first aid kit, it's got pills, it's got toilet paper, it's got wet wipes, it's got an extra lighter, it's got my toothbrush, it's got chapstick, it's got just about everything you need in there. It's the junk drawer of the backpack. Cook stuff over here, I've got my Tokes Thai spoon, MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe, fuel canister, Tokes 700 milliliter pot. I've got the Be Free as my filtration device, and the Nocvecto 2 liter as the bladder to filter from. I've got a GSI infinity mug, good insulated mug, and it's got a bunch of coffee shoved inside of it. I've got a smart water bottle, a Nalgene bottle, and then my electronics kit. Now, your electronics kit would probably be much smaller than mine. Mine has to be bigger because I'm going out and filming and taking all the stuff that I need in order to put together a good video. So I've got 30,000 milliamp hour batteries there. I've got all my cables. I've got a headlamp, and I've got spare GoPro batteries. There's actually 2 there. There's 2 others that are actually in my backpack. Well, 1 in my backpack, 1 in the GoPro. So this is kind of the extra stuff that's in my backpack. So let's look at what I wear outside of what I'm wearing when I'm hiking. But what else? What other clothing items am I carrying? Outside of the clothing that I will be wearing, I have this also with me. So the boots I will be wearing. So these are my newer Hoka Kaha 2s. So far I've gotten several miles in them, probably close to 20-ish. And they've been doing pretty well, so I've been pretty happy with those so far. Still not 100% sold on whether or not I want to go a full boot like that, or if I want to go back to just trail runners with some Gore-Tex socks. But I've got a good Buff. So this is from Buff brand, and this one is their Primaloft insulated one. It's got like a reflective material in there, really nice, and it's good for high activity, cold environments. So that one comes in really handy while hiking. I've got my OutDry down puffy, and I really like that one because the OutDry material is the first material that I've actually used that truly does shed water, that I've not had any issues with them wetting through. I've got 3 different ones. This one, it happens to be the warmest one, and so it's what I'll be taking. Got some North Face fleece-lined gloves. I've got a nice rab-lined hat, fleece-lined hat. I've got my Hillsound crampons, which fit nicely on these boots. I've got 2 different weights of thermal underwear. So I've got the Patagonia lightweight Capilene, and then I've got some military-issued heavyweight thermal underwear that are really warm, that are nice. And then I've got multiple pairs of socks that I'll be bringing with me, including 1 pair of liner socks, because I have been kind of trying those out, especially in the winter, to see whether or not I like that. So this is kind of the extra clothing that I'll have with me on top of what I would be wearing. The last group of items that we're going to talk about is the food that I'll be carrying. So this is the food that I will be carrying for 5 days on the trail. Now, I do have a little bit of extra in here just in case, but let's start over here. I've got condiments, bouillon cubes, hot sauce, all kinds of stuff that I may want to add to my meals. I've got sour cream powder, extra cheddar cheese, just to, you know, boost up the richness and a little bit of the flavors there, and a little bit of calories. And I've got energy drink mixes, quite a few of those, just in case I want them. And then various coffees. So I've got G7s, I've got some Voila, and I've got some Swift Cup instant coffee. So this one's gonna be just instant coffees the whole way. It's convenient, it's easy. When you're doing 5 days on the trail, maybe 6 days, it's a lot easier to just go with this option. All right, for dinners, I've got Peak Refuel, I've got Packy Gourmet, and I've got Outdoor Pantry. Just a different variety that I could go with. So I've got 5 meals here, even though if I'm out for 5 days, it'll probably only be 4 meals. I've got a couple of extra backup meals just in case these don't keep me full and I want to eat more. I've got my lunches here, which are smaller portions. So for the Peak Refuels, it is a half of a portion in a bag. And then I've got some of the smaller Outdoor Pantry meals that make up my lunches. And then throughout the day, I will eat bars. So I've got, 3 bars for each day. And then I've also got Wild Zora soups, just a mixture of Wild Zora soups that I can eat. And all of these will be carried in my Ursack. So I have my Ursack here. Everything will fit in there, and that's where it will be carried and where it will be stored at night to keep the critters out of it especially the bears. Don't want bears getting my food. So this is the food for 5 days, maybe 6 days out on the trail. Definitely enough food here for 6 days. Yeah, that's what we'll be carrying. So let's see how all of this looks when you put it all together and you put it in the pack. Will it all fit in the pack? That looks like a lot of stuff. Will it fit in my backpack? Let's see. All right, so here you go. This is my fully packed pack. Now, the collar actually comes up at least this high, so it's rolled down quite a bit. Got my jacket on the outside, so it's got quick access. I've got stuff in here that I need for quick access, like that junk drawer is in here. I've got my hat and my gloves and my buff right here, just in case I need those while I'm hiking. I've got food for the day, so my lunch will be on the outside, so I don't have to dig out my food bag. And then on the outside, I also have my sit pad, because if I stop, I want to have easy access to that sit pad. And I've got my fuel, stove, and pot on this side, my water filtration and water bottles on this side. And then in my hip belt pocket, I've got food for the day, snacks. So I've got 3 bars in there, and then I've also got my lenses and spare batteries for my camera in there. So this is everything packed up that I need. I could cinch it down and get it a little bit more symmetrical. The food bag kind of takes up a lot of space in there. And it's not super heavy, but it's definitely not light. But this is a winter 5 to 6 day backpacking trip. So you would expect that because I am carrying all the food for the entire trip, it is going to be a little bit heavier than a normal trip. And so that's why we're giving ourselves, you know, not just 5 days, but possibly 6 days to do it, just in case, you know, the weight weighs on us. But this is how I pack my pack. That's all the stuff that goes into my pack. That's what I'm bringing for this trip. Soon you will know where I'm going. I'm not going to give that away yet, but stick around. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel, and you'll figure it out. You'll figure out where we're going really soon, especially when the videos start getting uploaded. So appreciate you guys checking this out. If you have any questions, any comments about my gear, how I pack it, anything that I'm using or why I'm using it, leave it down below. Leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and I will see you guys down the trail.